Hey everyone, what's up? This is Simon from the Ionic Academy. In this video, I will show you how to include a side menu inside your Ionic 4 application. Because the basic starter template uses a side menu at the top level, and it's actually not so super easy to transfer that knowledge into your own application if you want to have, let's say, a login page and then a side menu. So we will use a blank Ionic 4 application, include a side menu, and also use the split pane, which helps us to resize the view and then display the sidebar, let's say on a tablet all the time, and on a phone I have the little burger icon. So split pane, side menu, angular routing, a lot of fun. Let's do this. I've created a blank new Ionic 4 application, currently using the beta 13, and this is what I run. So we're in our app and we start by creating a few more pages. So we don't want to use any of the stuff that's in here. So we don't want to use the home page. We want to go completely fresh with new pages. So the menu page will be what also was the base view within Ionic 3. This will host the Ion split pane and the menu components. And then we, of course, need the pages. Let's just call them first and second. Those are the ones that are actually displayed inside of our main content view. So first and second. And finally, one more thing I like to add is a module, because we could have all the routing at the top, but it's actually a bit more easier, and perhaps this is also the regular way how to do it. We need to have a routing for the menu, which is a bit specific. So let's just keep this separate from the overall app routing. And therefore we create the module at pages, menu, and menu routing. If you've watched my Ionic tabs video for Ionic 4, that's the same pattern we used in there as well. What we add here as well is make it flat, which means it will be directly in here, not additional folder, and spec, leave out the spec file for testing. So then we will see a new module file somewhere, there it is. And in this file, we can add all the routing for the side menu. Great, I think that's all we need for now. So let's go to the app routing module, and you can see everything was already added in here. The home page is anyway what we wanted to get rid of. So let's remove this and that and this. And let's just say we start on the menu page all the time. So this will be then loaded inside the Ion router outlet at the top level. And if you start the menu template, you will already have the side menu in here and then the routing here. So that's a bit tricky. Therefore, we keep it separate so you can integrate it in all your pages inside your application. All right, empty path, start of the app. We go to the menu page module, and this menu page module will now not have its own routing, but instead simply use the menu routing module. And the menu routing module will then set up all the pages, and in here we also need to import our first page module and second page module. You'll see why in a second. Just do it for now. I will tell you more about it in a second. So let's move on to the menu routing. This is where we wanted to set up our routes. There we go. And the routes, of course, this is an array. The routes for our side menu. So the parent path is, let's say, first of all, menu. The related component for this is our menu page, not side menu, simply the menu page, and this will hold the view elements for Ion pane and side menu and all of this. And now this menu has children, just like we had in the top bar navigation as well. So the path is what you can pick whatever you want. So let's call this simply first. And then we have an outlet. And let's talk about outlet a bit more in a second, and also make sure to wrap this in an object, of course. And also the component first page. Okay, actually many questions we have to answer right here. So second page, second, and this stays the same. Okay, so at the top we got the menu page, and this menu page will now have an Ion router outlet, just like we've seen in the app component. But this outlet will have a name, and we will call it menu content, and therefore we can use the outlet name in the path to target a specific area inside our view. Then we tell the app that we want to load the component first page into this outlet. We have to use component and import the component here. That's also the reason why we needed to edit the import right here. And the problem is that this is lazy loading syntax, so using it just with a string, which is at the time of writing or recording this not yet working with both tabs and side menu, and therefore component here. And if you want to use a new component, make sure to edit with the module file to the actual menu module. Okay, we talked about outlet, component, path. I think we've covered the basics so far. What we now need as well is a little redirect. So if we come to this place with an empty path, in that case, we simply redirect to the first page open. And the link to this would be menu, because we want to target the parent, slash, and now the child comes, but before the actual child path, we have menu content, which is the outlet name, and then the path. Looks a bit strange. Again, the same with the tab bar. Looks actually really strange inside the URL bar of the browser, but it works perfectly. So path, and then we got, the outlet name right here, and then the path of that routing component, whatever, right there. All right, imports, no common module, but the router module for child. So in here, we're not using for root anymore, but for child. And then we pass in the roots, and then exports the router module as well, so we can get rid of the common module. We've already imported this menu routing module right here. So the routing setup should be fine so far. So let's create the actual menu page. We could only use the Ion menu in here, but as I said before, we want to use the Ion split pane, which we only have to wrap around the context. And then we got the Ion menu, and we need a content IDs, because otherwise, come on, my English, otherwise we will get an error in the console. So the menu is the actual menu content, and below the menu we got the Ion router outlet, just like we've seen in the top level. We name it, guess what, menu content. Could have made this a little questionary. This was not an easy one. And we pass in the ID content, and guess what? That's the content ID we need to connect right there. And finally, I think we have to add main, so Ionic knows how everything works. All right, Ion split pane around the Ion menu. This will be the sidebar with some content, and this will be the container, whatever, the main view of your app. And now we only need to compose our side menu. So let's give it a little header and Ion toolbar, and inside Ion title. There we go. And then also Ion content, Ion list, all the tags you love, and then Ion item. No, actually not yet item, but also we make a little iteration here, I think. So let's add the pages from here. Pages. So the pages we can navigate to from the menu. This has nothing to do with the routing setup. This is just how you could create your menu dynamically, or well, if you only have static pages and you configure it once, you can of course do it inside the view as well, but having it here inside the code is most of the time the preferred method. So in here we will find the path again that we've seen in the routing. So if we click on the first item, we want to open this URL, and if we go to the second, we want to open the second path, of course. Also, let's add this right away. We want to subscribe to the router events because most of the time you want to somehow mark which page is active. So this is just a little addition for you because I know that we need this many times to mark on which page the user is, especially if you're using the side menu with a split pane on the tablet or inside the web browser as a web page. So in that case, simply subscribe to the events, and this will be an event of the type router event, and then simply set the selected path to event.url, which means whenever we navigate inside the application, we will set our selected path to the current path, and then later inside the CSS, we can mark them. So add a little something here, active item, using the CSS variable. Again, this course or this video is part of the Ionic 4 migration course inside the Ionic Academy. So if you haven't checked it out, do it right now. There are great courses for you to learn Ionic in the best and fastest possible way, and I'll support you on your journey all the time. All right, back to topic. I actually forgot where we were. Great, Simon. Okay, yeah, we got the pages, and now we want to iterate over the pages to create our menu. And we're not using an Ion item in here. We will use the Ion menu toggle actually, and we will set auto hide to false, and then create the ng for let p of pages. Okay, and then follows the Ion item and Ion label, which would be title. Okay, auto hide means this button will actually be hidden if the menu is already visible. And of course, if we use the split pane and have the menu visible on the side, we don't want to hide this button. So therefore, we set auto hide to false. Auto hide, hide. What's wrong today? I don't know. Okay, so the Ion item needs to have, of course, the href that we defined, which was purl. And then we want to set the class active item only if the selected path that we have stored in the view is equal to this URL. And now finally, something we need to add, and we could play around with a bit, is the router direction. So at this point, we tell Angular or Ionic how the view should be presented. And we could use push, or forward, backward, and root. Root is actually what we should use in this place, and I will show you how something else would look like. It's definitely not the right thing we want to have. So we're updating, and let's see. Yeah, good idea. We haven't added any menu toggle buttons. So let's go to our first page, and inside the toolbar add Ion buttons, slot start, and then the Ion menu button, which will be displayed if there's a menu that we could toggle. So this could go to the second page as well. And no, let's do this for now. Let's see, the routing seems to work. We're navigating to menu content first. We can open it. The first page is active, looking good so far. Let's make this view a bit bigger. And there we go. This would be the tablet view. And you see, we can flip around the pages, move from the first to the second, and the URL changes. And you see, there's basically no animation because we set the root page for this view. Now let me show you one thing. I think it was in here. Yeah, let's set this to forward now. And you will notice how it looks like now. So you see, it's like we're pushing a new page on the stack. And of course, this is the right animation if we're somewhere here clicking a link to details, and then the new page will be displayed on top. So, but of course, changing views with a side menu has to be a root change, because otherwise it just looks awful and we don't want to have this. Okay, now we're back to normal. Okay, works great. We can resize the view, we can go back to the menu, and we see we can go to the different pages inside the app. We can actually slide this as well. So pretty cool in here. Finally, one more thing. Let's say you want to toggle or open or interact somehow with a menu from one of your pages. Let's first of all add the Ion menu toggle that we've used in the side menu already, and simply add an Ion button in here, which will toggle the menu. So this button actually doesn't have to do anything. We will see how this button behaves. And now as well, we might need two more buttons. So the first button will open the menu from code. And I think something is wrong here. Yes. Open menu. And then for the second one, we will use something else. We want to open the second page, something that's also is a question that comes up pretty often. And in this case, we can directly use the page to open that page. And now you could stop the video for a second and think about how the path should look like. Dum, 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 dum. Okay, it looks like this. Of course, the parent path is menu, the outlet name is menu content, and then second, nothing else. And for the router direction, I would again use root because it feels right. So we got open menu, not this stuff. And the open menu now can use an instance of the menu controller. So import from Ionic Angular, and then this dot menu. Many functions is enabled, is open, swipeable, toggle, whatever. So you could use toggle or you could use open. Let's just go with this. And then we see how the app looks like now. And remember that we wrapped around this button in the Ion menu toggle. Yeah, that was actually right. So this will toggle the menu. Works great. This will open the menu. Worked great as well. This will open the second page, mark it as active. Works great again. Now let's see what happens if we make the view a bit bigger, and then you see the toggle button that was wrapped with Ion menu toggle disappeared because the side menu is already open. And also the first open won't have any effect in here. So this is the reason why we have auto hide false in the side menu. So we actually see the buttons if the menu is already open. All right, that's it for today. That's how you implement a side menu inside your Ionic 4 application. It's a bit tricky setting it up, and as I said, the basic template, starting template, isn't that good if you're just learning Ionic 4. Also, check out my Ionic Academy if you're just getting started with Ionic, where I provide courses, help, support, so you can learn Ionic in the best and fastest possible way with all your questions answered. I'd love to see you inside. Make sure to subscribe to the channel as well below somewhere. And have a great day, and I'll catch you inside the next video.